Hey Tubes, you can still be here with a review brought to you by CS Toys International, so thank you very much for this. This is the Legend Rider series Den-gasher, released for no real good reason other than Japan loves Den-O. So basically this is almost a straight up re-release of the Den-gasher toy from Den-O's line, only difference being I think an LED was removed, but as far as I know there isn't really any sound differences or anything like that. So the Den-gasher is Den-O's main weapon, which consists of 4 halves that fit together in multiple ways to make a sword, a gun, an axe, and a rod for their associated forms. And like I said, this is a Legend Rider series release. I think it was released in 2011. So, like I said, pretty much just a straight up re-release. Almost. So yeah. Very cool. We're just going to leave this back here because I kind of need to look at them to figure out how to build these properly because I don't quite have it down yet. So here are the Den-gasher pieces on the belt holsters. So you can see they fit right in there. They just slide on and off very comfortably. They're not falling anywhere. So if you do have a Den-O belt that fits you, by all means you can attach these and you don't have to worry about them falling off at all. Granted, they are small. They're not as big as like the suit ones or anything like that, but it's a roleplay toy. That's what you expect. So very cool. So let's go ahead and pop all of these out and set these aside. I really like the concept behind the Den-gasher. I think a group of 4 little pieces that can change shape is a kind of an interesting concept. A bit impractical, but seeing as how the forms only use each of their associated weapons, it's not really like he's going to have to change them on the fly or anything like that. Plus, they kind of reform themselves depending on what form he's in anyway. So, here we are. We're going to make sword form first. The trigger is right here. So, this is the handle of all of the weapons. So, this is always going to be like the bottom base. The switch is right there. So, we'll go ahead and turn it on. That is the associated sound when nothing is attached whatsoever. So we're going to keep this down, take the axe portion, and attach it like this. There are 2 little buttons here to bring in those pieces. You'll hear that noise. This is the blade portion, so flip that out. Granted, it is a very dinky blade, but it is a blade nonetheless. That will attach right there. And then this piece is basically the extra piece, and that just gets shoved over here. This piece will line up right here. And there is a button right there that this tab pegs, not pegs into, but pushes down to signify that it's in sword mode. So here we are with sword mode. It's actually fairly hefty. I mean, it's got a decent amount of size to it. It's, I mean, in no way an actual sword, but it's a pretty decent short sword, I guess. For sounds you have so you have 1 attack and then like a triple attack kind of thing. That's all you have for this. You can pull it out if you want to, but that's inaccurate, so. But very cool. Like I said, it does feel, it's got a nice weight to it, consisting of the 4 pieces, so all these do have a significant amount of heft to it. And like I said, the size isn't that bad. It's not great, but it's certainly not bad. I feel like this is actually fairly accurate in size. I mean, granted, it's a little bit smaller, but most of your lack of size comes from the little dinky little blade there. But fold that in because we won't need that anymore. And now we'll do the rod form, just because that was the second form introduced. So fold that up, pop this out. This is going to have to, actually no, it's fine the way it is. This will attach right here, and then the first one will attach right here. So basically you have 1, 2, 3, and this is stylized kanji for 4. In case you're wondering why that looks so weird. So that's right there. These are all kanji actually. Ichi, ni, san, and yon. So pretty neat. Basically, it forms a giant train, which is actually kind of cool. But yeah, So this is the rod form. Basically kind of like weird puncture stabby sounds. And then, of course, it being the rod form for Keitaros and his fishing gimmick, you have a little fishing spool thing right here. So you can reel them in and stuff. So yeah, like I said, a significant length, obviously being just the 4 pieces stacked up on front of each other. And it does make an actually stylish looking train. You could probably put this on a shelf and pass it off as a train. Not sure why you want to, but you can. So next up is the axe form. So what we're going to do is pop everything off, basically. The 2 is going to flip around and then peg right back in where it was. Actually, this is going to flip around too, my mistake. Just like that, and then the axe portion will pop out and will attach right down here. Just got to line everything up. It's going to line up with that peg right up there, and then swing that around, lock it in, swing it around, lock it in, and then you have the axe. It's more like a tomahawk in terms of actual size, but you get the axe anyway. So those 2 sounds, an explosion-y sound and then a cling, cling, cling sound. But really cool nonetheless. It is a little bit wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. But I guess that's to be expected. You have a lot of weight up here that's being pressed on this little shaft area right here. So it is very wiggly. But that's not really huge of a deal. So now on to my favorite of the combinations, the gun form. I think it's the most solid of them, so I just kind of like it a little bit better. Split them apart like this. This right here is going to be the barrel, right up here, this open space. And this is going to attach to the axe portion just like this. So there's your front of the gun. The bottom portion of the gun is going to consist of this. So if you plug it in on an angle, that'll line up right there. Then you just take this portion and line it up. Just like that. And there you have the gun mode. Very hefty for a gun. Like I said, fairly decent size all around. So absolutely no complaints there whatsoever. For sounds you have so you got those sounds. Nothing too spectacular. You still have the little fishing reel thing here that you can play with if you're bored. But very cool. I do really like the way that the gun looks. It has a lot of heft to it. It's fairly accurate in terms of size. Like most gun toys, it just ends up being actually really fun to hold, as opposed to looking like, oh, hey, look, I got a knife, or a tomahawk, or something like that. So very cool, nonetheless. So basically how this works is there's 2 little notches down in there. And then there's the one up here. So by pushing those down will signify what form it is. I think this is sword form up here. So when those are all pressed down in the associated combination, you'll get the sounds for that toy. And then the generic one. So really neat concept, and I love the way that it actually turned out. It's actually a pretty neat toy. I was not expecting to like this one as much as I did, but when I was offered it, I was like, okay, sure. And it actually, I'm really glad that I got it, because I'm a huge Den-O fan as it is. I love Den-O quite a bit. And so I never really thought about getting the weapon because there's no gimmick associated. I really didn't need to pick it up. But I really actually like it. 2 out of the 3 modes are actually pretty fun. The sword and gun mode I think are really nice. The axe is cool. It's just a little bit flimsy in the middle there. And the rod form just kind of ends up looking like a stick as opposed to an actual like staff or anything like that. But that's to be expected when you're working with a roleplay toy, not a prop. I love the associated sounds and the fact that those change to associate with the form, and just the concept that you can take 4 of these basically little tiny sticks and combine them in different ways to make 4 individual weapons is really cool as well. So I have to give props to the designers for working that out really well as well. Lots of wells in that sentence. Lassie fell in the well. Or no, Timmy fell in the well. Lassie warned people. But regardless, a very cool release. If you're a fan of Den-O, never picked this up when Den-O was on the air. The Legend Rider Series 1 is very easy to come across on Mandarake. I think some online stores will still actually have them in stock too. I know CS Toys Japan does. So if you're interested in this, definitely check them out. Very cool release, and it's one of those situations where the Legend Rider release is just as good as the original, because really an LED in this somewhere is probably in the handle somewhere. Really isn't necessary whatsoever. But very cool. Definitely recommend it if you're a fan of Den-O. So you can check out shukatoshobe.com, post updates to my reviews and hauls, and of course check out Riders, Rangers, and Rebels, the podcast bringing the latest token news in the craziest way possible. And of course you can buy this and more Kamen Rider merchandise at cstoysjapan.com. So take care and have a great one. Bye.